What is this? We really fall down inside.
Fall down inside waiting here.
Amen. For God's sake, Sarah, you don't have eyes to see stealing all over this country here?
Well, wait and see. The solution is on its way.
Waiting? What? You get? Corruption and mismanagement of government resources is affecting our way of living here.
Yeah, it is true, but some efforts are being made to stop it.
I beg you, what effort?
We now have the new anti-corruption laws, including the new Anti-Corruption Commission Act (NACA), the whistleblower law, and the witness protection law that are in place to strengthen the fight against corruption. So you see, solution is on its way.
Waiting good say will come from out of it. It will be another blood and story. Let me go in my little corner here and watch them steal again.
No, dear. This time around, the new Anti-Corruption Commission Act (NACA) gives LACC the power to go directly to court with corruption cases without going through the Ministry of Justice.
Would this be for the social good to benefit those who are abused by stealing our resources, including me, dear? Hey, Sarah, what's making news? What making news? That Sarah hurting my head here with this anti-corruption story. But I heard here, there's something good. Samuel, do you know what you are talking? When government people just getting rich in a twinkling of an eye, while we, the poor people, getting poorer every day?
Dear, the whistleblower and the witness protection law will also give incentive for those blowing the whistle on corruption. When you report the corruption and the people retrieve the money, you will get 5% as your reward for reporting. When you see corruption, report it and the law will back you. So nobody will do anything to you.
Are you really sure of the things you are talking?
Oh yes. The government now put in place the ombudsman.
So what did the ombudsman then will be doing, Sarah?
The ombudsman will investigate violation of the code of conduct. It will make sure that people working in government act properly and that they don't do things anyhow.
I see. Sarah, tell me more about the witness protection law.
Samuel, that law calls for the establishment of a witness protection unit to protect those testifying against corrupt people in court. But the government still dragging a feet to open the witness protection unit.
No, man. I hope the unit can open soon so we can feel safe to report corruption and talk about it in court.
If you still want to know more about the anti-corruption laws, you can reach Cental's Advocacy and Legal Advice Center, ALA, to report allegations of corruption or learn more about the fight against corruption.
I know Cental office on 22nd Street, Cental. I am on my way there right now. So my Liberian people, let's join the fight against corruption. Report all corruption to Cental by dialing 4432 or text 0555 722-113 or email alac@cental.org.lr. Let's thank the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency (SIDA) for providing the money for the National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program NIMBA for an additional 3 years, January 2024 to December 2026.
Liberia, our homeland, a future bright we see, with honest hearts and open hands for you and for me. But shadows creep and darkness hides where secrets like to stay. Cental steps into the light to chase those clouds away. Shine a light on every corner, clear and bright. Transparency's the guiding star to take us near and far. Accountability, the solid ground where justice can be found. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. From ministries to market stalls, from city streets to farms, we're watching close, we're asking all to keep us safe from harms. No more backroom deals and lies, no more corruption sting. With Cental standing by our side, a better future future we will bring. Shine a light, on every corner clear and bright. Transparency's the guiding star to take us near and far. Accountability, the solid ground where justice can be found. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives.
A pleasant good morning and welcome to another edition of the program Accountability Hour. This program is produced by Cental, and in case you do not know, Cental is the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. We are the national chapter for Transparency International, which is the global coalition against corruption with chapters and networks in about 120 countries around the world. This program is an information dissemination platform of Cental. It's a part of our national integrity building and anti-corruption program, which is funded entirely by the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA. My name is Edward Blamo. I have been your host as always, because I'm responsible for media and communications at Cental. This morning we have a very distinguished gentleman, and we will be talking about road safety and accountability issues, as well as advocacy efforts to ensure that our roads are safe. And to do that, we have Eric Gabriel Jen Judges. He's the executive director for the Road Safety Action International, and they are a group that is pushing for the safety of our roads. We have a lot of road incidences in Liberia as people are dying, and roads are terrible, and safety is a very serious concern. And we'll be talking about what you're doing in terms of increasing advocacy and some of the efforts to ensure that people are held accountable for the safety of our roads. But before we do that, we will take this very short break and be right back.
Sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. It takes us all, both big and small, to build a nation strong, to stand for truth and give our all, and right where things went wrong. So raise your voice and join the call, let honesty take flight. Together we can break the fall and fill our land with light. Shine a light, on every corner clear and bright. Transparency's the guiding star to take us near and far. Accountability, the solid ground where justice can be found. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. Cental.
Welcome back to the program Accountability Hour, and as we've stated earlier, this program is meant for you, members of the public, to hold your leaders accountable, to demand accountability, to promote transparency, all geared towards ensuring that we have a country that works for everyone. We have a society that is wholesome and functioning. And we're doing a couple of things at Cental, and all geared towards ensuring that Liberia is free of corruption, and one of which is our research. At Cental, we do advocacy. We engage with stakeholders from the top to the bottom levels. We do different things. We have integrity clubs working with students to ensure that we can imbue the tenets of integrity. We also have budget research, and we are engaging county council members. We are supporting them, building their capacities, ensuring that allocations in the budget reach the people, reach the actual beneficiaries. We're doing a couple of things, but also we're doing research as a form of evaluating the progress being made in the fight against corruption and where the country stands. And so we have this State of Corruption report that we release every year since 2021. We've been releasing this report. It's on our website in case you want to access the full report. The handle to do that is www.cental.org.lr. Once you hit that address through your different search engines. You're going to have displayed before your website, and then you can access the document folder and download the State of Corruption report. But I'd just like to carry you through or read you, one or two of the findings, if I can. And the key findings from the 2024 State of Corruption report, finding number one, it says corruption levels decline for the first time, yet remain high. We did the research. We asked random people in 9 counties, a couple of questions, what they think about corruption, because we wanted to gauge the perception of the people, what corruption looks like. And 83% of those we asked, out of every 100, 83% said corruption level was high in 2024. That was very concerning. It is still concerning. It means we have to do a lot more to tackle corruption. But mind you, this represents a 7% decline from the previous report. In 2023, when we asked that same question, 90% out of every 100 persons we asked said corruption level was high in the country. That's a number repeated in 2022 and in 2021. So in 2021, 2022, 2023, out of every 100 persons we asked as to how corruption looks like in Liberia, 90% say it was high. But in 2024, 83% said corruption level was high in the country. That is a decline, but it's very marginal. So we still got a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of efforts to be put into the fight against corruption, and we need to do more. The other finding from the report that we have, I would like to share with you, is we ask questions around where do citizens think corruption is high? Which sector, which public sector is most prone to corruption? And guess what? 71% of the people we asked, or 71 of every 100 people we asked, ranked the police services as the more prone to corruption. All right, so of all the public services, 71% said the police services was the most prone to corruption. So representing a 2% decline from 73% in 2023. So yes, in 2023, 73% said the police was the most corrupt. In 2024, 71% said the police was more corrupt. The second was the medical services. 48% of those we asked in 2024 cited medical services as the most corrupt, or the service that is more prone to corruption. That also represented, or is still represents, because this is the current report we have, so that represents a 13% decline from 59% in the previous report. Previously, 59% thought medical services, corrupt, and now 46% think so. So that is that. Then the third was the court services. People believe the court services are more prone to corruption, and that the number there said 38%, not 38. Yes, let me get the figure right. Court services fall in third place and decline from 38% in 2023 to 26%, followed by educational services, also experiencing a decline from 31% to 24%. So this is the picture of what corruption looks like in Liberia, what people think about corruption. This is our local context, State of Corruption report. We have the Corruption Perception Index that is produced by Transparency International. We thought to localize that report to say, well, let's focus more on what corruption looks like in Liberia, as we can get a general picture from Transparency International that we promote usually. So yes, that's how corruption looks like. If you want to get a full report in terms of the analysis and to get all of the the qualitative side of the report, you can access the report on our website. The handle is www.cental.org.li. are. At this juncture, we will now go to our guest, Eric Jan Georges, who is the Executive Director of the Road Safety Action International. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Edward. Good morning.
Can you elevate the microphone a little bit?
How are you?
Okay, how is it like? How is the Road Safety Action International?
Well, we're doing okay, so to speak. Doing okay because, you know, as advocates, when we're doing extremely well, you will hear it in our voice.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing okay. There are a lot of things that we're doing on the advocacy side of the road safety sector that we are working in, and also we are in collaboration with stakeholders across the country to look at particularly what you talk about, accountability in the road sector. So yes, we're doing quite okay.
Okay, let me just read through a couple of data I have here before me. Liberia has one of the world's highest traffic incident death rates, with 35.9 to 38.9 deaths per 100,000 population in recent years. Those specific recent monthly data from the Liberian National Police shows a localized snapshot, such as 157 incident cases in September 2024. So that's a huge number, right?
That is.
157 incident cases in September, or accident cases.
Yeah,
let's get
accident
it right.
cases in
Accident
September,
cases
yeah.
in September 2024, resulting in 23 deaths and 144 injuries. Contributing factors to this crisis include poor road user behavior, inadequate road safety features, a lack of vehicle inspection, and insufficient training. So we have a very big problem on our hand. What are you doing as an organization to solve those problems?
We indeed have a very big problem on our hand. First of all, Road Safety Action International is for impact institution, as I always like to describe it. We're here to make impact in the road safety sector. And normally people would say it's non-for-profit. I don't really want to dwell on profit. What are you? We are here to improve the road safety sector, to work with partners across the board to improve the road safety sector. So just as the numbers you read, our situation is dire, right? It's troubling. In fact, the numbers you read are actually from the 2021 report. In the 2023 report, we are even deteriorating instead of improving. Yes, in the Global Startup report that was released by the World Health Organization, 2023 says that Liberia is having 55.9 fatalities per every 100,000 population.
Wow.
So that's a troubling number. That's a troubling number. And being a local person on the ground running a road safety institution, the examples, the observations, they're all clear that we are having a very troubling situation with road accidents. And you and myself can tell, Edward, everywhere you pass, you see, road accidents based squarely on the factors that you outline. And what we are doing is to first categorize the problems across the sector and try to address them in different compartments. Because, like you mentioned, the problems are a lot. So being somebody who's an engineer and I tend to be data-driven, I try as hard as possible to understand it from evidence-based perspective before we can dive into finding solutions. I mean, these things are much more deeper than just the what you see every day. So when we understand it, we're able to provide solutions to the problems. So what we are doing currently is to set up programs across the institution that pinpoint all of the different factors and address them in different format. Right. The first program we have, and which is one of the major concentration we've had for the past 2 years, is the improvement in our road safety policy. Edward, there is no way the road safety sector can improve if we don't improve the policies. The policies are the fundamental that you can use for improvement, for enforcement, and even for education. So if you don't have good policies, there's no way you're going to educate. If, For example, we have the 1972 Vehicle and Traffic Law of Liberia.
Okay.
We call it for short the VTL. That law was passed since 1972. 1972, we're talking 2025. We have not made any amendment to that law.
What are some of the things you've seen in that law already? Some of the excesses or inadequacies that you've identified in the 1972 Vehicle and Traffic Law that you think that needs to be amended?
For example, in the 1972 VTL, we had no provision for seatbelts. At the time, the research for seatbelt being the safest in-vehicle safety feature had not really gone global. So there was no provision in there.
Okay.
It is necessary now. Across the globe, we know that the in-vehicle safety feature, the most necessary is the seatbelt. So we need to put that provision in. For example, we don't have what we call the child restraint, or people say the child seat. Okay. The child under the age of 5 should actually not be seated on the regular seat of the vehicle. They should be in what we call the child restraint carrier, right? Because in terms in any accident or so, that seat is built to reduce the impact. So that provision is also not there. Also, in the Vehicle and Traffic Law, we have all sorts of provision. For example, it says that when you're walking on a carriageway, right, as a pedestrian, and you get hit by a vehicle, you're actually wrong. But look at our roads now. Road construction has improved.
What is the
over time.
carriageway? I mean,
the carriageway is actually the one that the car drives on. Because the road has different parts, right? We got the sidewalk, what the Americans would say sidewalk, the British would say pavement.
Okay.
And then we get the carriageway, that's where the vehicle drives.
Okay.
And the right of way outside of the sidewalk where you have utility poles and all these other things, right?
But we have roads in this country that don't even have sidewalks.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
what
So
do you want
if you
to
say
do?
the pedestrian is wrong, then it means that road should have all of the features.
Okay.
Particularly if the road is in the urban area. It means that road should have all of the features. So that when the pedestrian is not on the sidewalk, but there is a sidewalk and the pedestrian get hit, then in terms of enforcement, in terms of interpretation of that law, the court would know where, the fault is. You understand me? But as we speak, the law is not updated. It's been years, and this is not today. We are talking about this. I remember we've talked about this on Equas Radio. We've talked about this on True FM. We've been going around talking about this. The committee in the House on transport, on safety, on security. These are instruments that they should put on their committee decks to be discussed and to be amended. This is why we give the position of representatives to our people. So if you are representing us and there is a law that's hampering us and you cannot amend it, then what are you doing there? And that's part of the accountability conversation that we are having. As a lawmaker, you are accountable to us. You are accountable in several ways. And one of those ways is for you to amend, improve, and make laws that will improve our society. And we have an archaic law that is completely not serving its purpose anymore, and you can't update it.
How
you can't
far
amend it.
how far are efforts to ensure that those laws are repealed or maybe amended? I mean, how far is it?
Well, there have been progress made, realistically. Working with an international institution, the Ministry of Transport, under the Road Safety Secretariat, went ahead and had a rigorous reviewed and updating process of the law. So as we speak, we have copy of the updated versions in circulation. In fact, my organization had taken on the responsibility, without any support from any institution, to distribute copy of that updated law to almost all of the government institutions, the Ministry of Justice. Even though I believe they had it, but it is our responsibility as advocates and some people who want to see the sector improve to continue to inform them. So we've distributed a copy of that law, and as we speak, we are even printing copies again to be distributed to them. Every year, every now and then, we reminding them about this law and about the need to update it, to amend it. So yeah, it's there's progress. For the fact that we have updated it, there's progress. What needs to be done is a proper review by all of the stakeholders across the board, from international organization to unions, driver union, motorbike union, to the different ministries and entities, particularly the entities responsible for law reform, provision of different policies for the safety sector, the Liberian National Police, the Ministry of Transport. They need to come around the table, review this law, agree to it, so that we all in one accord agree that now this is validated, take it to the president and take it to the legislature to be amended. And this will improve the situation in the country, because with that fundamental law now, enforcement can come in, education can come in. For us, we work hardly in the education area. So now with that law, I'm able to go back and design road safety curriculum, design road safety education, road safety training for drivers across the board, as we are doing now.
Okay, in 2018, there was this road safety action plan that was developed. And I don't know whether there's a recent plan since 2018, but that's the most recent I could find. And there are a lot of issues that were contained in that particular plan. One of which is vehicles of all types plying the streets on a daily basis that are totally unroadworthy. Very key issue. So I don't know what part of your accountability mechanism are you engaging the police to ensure that, or the relevant authorities to ensure that vehicles applying the streets are roadworthy. Also, you say with no vehicle testing having been undertaken for at least 5 years. I mean, at the time now, there were no vehicle testing done, and that was one of the issues raised in the road safety action plan. Another issue was the fact that drivers of all vehicles who have limited of any driving training. Most of them didn't even go driving school. They didn't learn properly, and people just learn behind the house and then jump on the road.
Apprenticeship kind of learning, yeah.
And then the other issue was no driving tests has been undertaken in Liberia for at least 5 years at the time of this report. Then this report also said, as one of the issues, police force did not enforce the law, and is perceived to be more interested in soliciting bribes from the public than enforcing road safety. That was a very, very, very key issue that was raised. Also, no road safety education in schools. That was an issue as well. Poor quality and poorly maintained road infrastructure. Ineffective post-incident response from emergency services. Compounded by survival of the richest attitude to justice in general, lack of alternatives for people wishing to travel, by whatever means are available, and blah 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 blah. But I mean, a couple of key things. These are all very serious issues. I mean, are you familiar with them, and what are you doing?
I'm very familiar with them. In fact, I've reviewed that report several times, and we've looked at that report to actually craft some of the programs and projects that we are running. First of all, as you talk about the roadworthiness issue, right, is a bigger problem that we have to face. Across the world, there are real policies and framework in place for what we call the roadworthiness regime. So in Liberia, we should develop the roadworthiness regime framework. That framework will give us an understanding of how to inspect vehicle and to give them the lesson to plow the road. Every vehicle is supposed to be roadworthy to plow the road. So if you're not roadworthy, you're not supposed to be plowing the road. But if we don't have anything on the books that we can use as a benchmark to assess the roadworthiness of these vehicles, trust me, Edward, there's no way you're going to enforce that. So you see, these things are kind of intertwined. Right? You don't have anything to look at for enforcement. So obviously you won't enforce anything. Right? So, but the good thing is, working with the Ministry of Transport, we are currently preparing the first Liberia Roadworthiness Framework document. The first framework document that will set the platform for how vehicles should be assessed and certificated to plow the road. We're already working on that, and it's called the RWR framework, right? The second thing is you talk about education. Yes, a lot of in fact, we have conducted a survey across the 18 government ministries. We've been surveying drivers to understand, because we are rolling out a program called the Public Institution Driver Training Project. Our aim is to train 1,000 more drivers across all government ministries, across the 18 government ministries, right? And then we will go on to state-owned enterprises and commissions and authorities and all of that. Of the total survey we've done so far, 95% of the drivers we have driving in the government ministries did not learn from a driving school.
Wow.
Yes, they all learned by maybe they knew somebody who owned a car and the person taught them how to drive, or apprenticeship.
So what is the risk in that?
There's huge risks in there. In fact, the second part of the survey also reveal that 75% of the total number of drivers that we survey are not literate to a point. Yes, to a point, right? Where they're able to read the road signs and the directions, right? So with that, there's a combined risks, inherent risks. First of all, when you learn through the proper driving school, you get taught all the different things that are necessary, right? You get to know the approach to moving this mechanical device, and moreover the rules and regulation associated with it. But when you learn from somebody, or you just learn by watching somebody drive, is different from knowing the implication of the rules that apply to the road. That's one risk. So a lot of the drivers are driving and they are not schooled in terms of how or why certain things are the way they are on the road. So they take it very lightly. For example, there are drivers who have no understanding about the zebra crossings.
Okay.
They reach there and they see pedestrian on the zebra crossing and apply. I believe it has been really thought to understand that one of the most offensive driving violation is to see a pedestrian, especially in the urban area, on the zebra, and you refuse to stop.
And what is the zebra?
The zebra crossing is the white lines you see on the road, but they're bigger and they transverse the road.
Okay.
That crossing gives the pedestrians the right.
Is it what we all know to be the crosswalks?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is the crosswalk. So it gives the pedestrian the right to cross. So if you've gone through a proper driving education, as soon as you see pedestrian on the crosswalk, you slow down and you stop and give the pedestrian the time to go. But because a lot of our drivers they haven't gone through that process, so they'll take it very likely. They see pedestrian. Normally, sometimes they will shout by even at the pedestrian saying, "You can't see me," or "You don't see the car coming," something like that. And if forgetting to know that the pedestrian is in his or her right?
Okay.
So and then it comes to enforcement. On the enforcement aspect, yes, if the majority of the people driving are violating, to enforce will be very difficult, and that's why road safety is a shared accountability issue.
Okay.
Shared accountability. It's not just one side.
So road users and pedestrians too should be able to share the responsibility.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The government has the responsibility and is accountable to build the necessary road infrastructure that is safe enough. So when you're building a road, for example, you and I are talking about roads that don't have sidewalks. In an urban area, in residential area, in commercial area, where the majority of the people will be commuting by foot, you should definitely put a sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's part of accountability. You are accountable to build the right kind of infrastructure, right? Then as a driver, as somebody using that road, you're also accountable to drive appropriately, to behave appropriately. When you see pedestrian on the crosswalk, you stop. That's accountability. You're being accountable, right? And when you're a pedestrian, when you reach to where you don't have crosswalk, you are not allowed to cross there. That's also being accountable. So it's a shared responsibility. Government building the right infrastructure and the people behaving in the right way so that that infrastructure serves the purpose. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's a shared responsibility, and that comes to the enforcement aspect because we don't have a strong fundamental in the education of the people, so it becomes difficult to enforce. Again, it's not an excuse, but it's based on the observation of somebody who's practically interacting with this situation all of the time. I'm talking to the police, I'm talking to the transport ministry, I'm talking to the community, I'm listening to union, I'm having meeting with tricycle and 2 and 3 wheelers, we say tricycle, bicycle people now here and there, and there are complaints coming to our office back and forth, and we're hearing from all sides of this particular conversation. So we know a lot of the violations happening from people who are not properly educated to use the road.
Okay, you're listening to Accountability Hour, and this program is produced by Cental. This is where we hold our leaders accountable. This is where we talk about different things, all geared towards ensuring that our society is one that is wholesome and functioning properly. And this morning, we have the Executive Director for Road Safety Action International, Eric Gabriel Jane Judges, and we were talking about road safety issues and accountability and efforts to ensure that our roads are safe and that people stop dying, because we lose a lot of people from road accidents, and we use the road a lot. I mean, even coming here, we have to use the roads. Going to work, we use the roads. We use the roads every day. And if the numbers that we're hearing doesn't scare us, then we're going to think again. Because if you're using roads every day and you're hearing a lot of road accidents from poorly built roads and untrained drivers and different things, it's a call for concern for everyone. And that's why we're here with Eric to sort of tell us what he's doing, his organization is doing, and other efforts geared towards shining the light on ensuring that there's accountability when it comes to road in Liberia, and our roads are safe. The numbers to join us, in case you would like to participate, the numbers are always the same: 0555 995 995. 0777-700-995. These are the numbers to call and be live on the program Accountability Hour. Good morning.
Oh yeah, how are you?
Let's hear you quickly.
Today there's no more rule safety. But me, I say Kofi Koma, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's no more rule safety inspection. There's no more driver license. All the facts, there'll always be accident, because how can you give a permit to drive a vehicle? All you see in a vehicle, say you register the vehicle.
Yeah.
You have not seen a vehicle. Why the car run? Nothing.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a very good
point. But you do it there. I say that I don't let it go to the police station, the traffic division, have a town, let me see how it was before. The one the accident was there today. Go and look at it. You wouldn't tell me how you got the whole car. You get him driver license. Let him mean that it will be detailed. There's no one that we had before.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a very good point. I mean, yes, let's hear the other person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, my name is Derek.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah, just joined your discussion this morning, and I want to thank you. One of the major problems in our country is education. And most of us.
Hello, your background is very noisy and it's terrible.
Okay, let me get out. Come back.
Okay, yes, you think you can do that? Let's take this person. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
Let's hear you quickly.
I'm Juvelas Bondo calling from Glencoe County.
Go ahead.
I am a driver. I mean a complete driver, right? I went through a rank and file of driving. And I drive outside Labrador as well. You see, I just want to address the previous caller. Let's say the first caller. Liberia is the only country in the world that registers a vehicle without seeing it and certificate the vehicle. So we're talking about road working there is one of the main aspects of vehicle registration and what I call inspection. You cannot, nowhere in the world, you cannot register a vehicle that you are not seeing. Somebody will carry the port entry paper document, actually the document to the Ministry of Transport, and say this is a Toyota Corolla from America, 2010 model, and then they show the VIN number, and definitely the Ministry of Transport just want the money. They not care whether that car is it's not in a good state, whether it's an accident car, whether it's road worthy. They register the vehicle and certificate the vehicle, and the person go right ahead and start to put the car on the road.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Transport has a great problem.
Thank you very much.
Let me end on this.
Yes, go ahead quickly. Let's do that
quickly. The driver lesson is not meant for evaluation. It's a marketing. The people just tell the RTR to people, because if you lesson somebody, you got to evaluate them and know that they qualify before you lessons in the person.
Of course.
But it just tell the RTR to anybody at all costs.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a very good point. I mean, I hope you're taking notes of those points. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Let's hear you quickly.
Good morning to your studio again.
Go ahead.
My name is Super Morris, and I call you from New Jersey Junction.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the topic on the discussion this morning. So, my brother, the topic is very, very important, and we pray that the national police should really take into consideration, because the problem of the people, our drivers in the country, is they didn't regard anything that had to do with traffic rule. For instance, at the New Jersey Junction, there's a red light area there. My brother, people will be standing, the people will be standing, they want to cross, and they're waiting for the red light. By the time the red light come on for the other people to go, the people will not, the driver will not allow them. They'll be seeing the people cross, and they see that they're rushing towards them. So these are things that are very, very dangerous. And one of the major problems with this country is people get in car without having knowledge of driving, only because they stop by somebody and the person sits on there on the car, and then you have no idea of going to the tutorial to get a driving idea so that you can be able to practical license. Because if you go to driving school, you will know the rules and regulations towards the road, and when you come to the car and then you apply it. But when you don't know all this thing, then you just go and let the practical start. It becomes very, very dangerous for us.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take this person from this side. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, this is Pablo M. Kamara calling from Ghana, to be specific.
Go ahead.
I am a taxi driver. Let me say thank you to the Federal Institute, but I have some issue when it comes to the traffic controlling area for the police and that of the union. There are so many challenges some of us are facing. This is one of the issues where the fellow who just called from the Ghana is talking about New Georgia. I'm right adjacent to New Georgia Junction. This is what happened. The passenger usually, they know that there's an area where you should stand and wait for the car, maybe like taxi or bus. But the passenger will stand in an area where the taxi driver, as far as the taxi driver tries to go and park in a suitable area to pick up the passenger, they will start to open the door. And right away, the police will be standing there looking at them. But then when the incident happens, the police will not go and check it out the passenger and tell them, this is the area you guys should stand. But they will only come to issue tickets to the taxi driver and start to ride on the taxi driver. So I'm saying this to say that all passengers and the police and the union have so many works to be done.
Okay, thank you.
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you,
thank you. Let's take two more persons and then we get to the guest. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear brother. How are you doing?
Go ahead, quickly.
Hey, Mr. Cooper from Voice TV. Thank you for the topic on our discussion. I have interest in the traffic management. and the transport ministry. Librarians are trying all over here and there. What is the difference between the transport ministry or all the management want to take over transport ministry? For me, transport ministry is not to say traffic management. They got there are two different functions down there. Transport ministry is the ministry by itself and for the ministry for the republic, and traffic management is there to regulate traffic to see the property based on in traffic. I believe like, but not supposed to. The traffic management has to take registration from transport, lesson, driving lesson from transport. It's not correct. For me, I support traffic management. If your car is defective on traffic management is there to park your car. If your car is not get tired, traffic management is there to what? To make things that thing is right in traffic.
Thank you very much. Let's take one more person and then go to the guest.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh no, your background is so noisy. Let's try this person. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Let's hear you.
This is Mustafa Bikama, and I do join the conversation from the Private Intellectual Center, CRC.
Go ahead quickly.
You see, my problem has to do with the Ministry of Transport. You see, you issuing driver's license without seeing their driving certificate. It's just like somebody entering at a university. Normally, you and I know that before you enter at any university, you have to get a high school certificate, right? You have to present a high school certificate. But now, people are issued a driver license without you seeing their driving certificate. They don't pass through the rank and file of driving. So how you expect them to be educated when it comes to road safety?
Thank you very much.
They don't understand anything from there. So I want them to please address that before you give driver license. See the person driving certificate.
Thank you very much. Let us get to you, Eric, to respond to some of the concerns, multiple of them.
Yes, definitely multiple concerns, and it goes back to the problem with the strap. You painted a picture of the different factors. They're just elaborating on those factors, which is true. For example, somebody talk about registering a vehicle without seeing the vehicle. So it goes back to the point I was making about the RWR or the roadworthiness framework.
Okay.
When we have that, the first place you have to go to assess that the vehicle you want to register is roadworthy is with the roadworthiness framework.
How far is that framework already?
It's been drafted. It's been prepared.
When do we expect it to be rolled out?
Hopefully by the close of this year.
Okay.
The policy should be ready.
Okay.
And it will be with the ministry now to launch it and be able to roll it out.
Okay.
Right. So it's starting first. The roadworthiness framework the regime assess the vehicle and determines that the vehicle is roadworthy. Then you can take that paper from the roadworthiness regime to the Ministry of Transport to be registered, because then the vehicle is already assessed that it's roadworthy. And some of the things, Edward, would be like, for example, checking the lights, because sometimes people drive vehicles without light. How do you expect that somebody coming will see you and you don't have a light at all? Some of the vehicles moving in the night, they use just one of those shiny Chinese lights, which is not designed for the road. The light you see on the vehicles, they have certain illumination, they have certain brightness, they have certain distance it's supposed to travel. All of those things are all measured in a safety calculation, and those things are well set. So if you take it out and you put a Chinese light that is blurred, that can only see maybe less than 2-3 meters, you are actually heading for accident, right? So that's one of the concerns. Yes, there should be an inspection of all of the vehicle plying our road to be roadworthy to plow our road, right? The second issue
another thing is, I mean, you go to the list of things you have, but the roads itself, I mean, are they very okay? Do they have all of the qualities? Do they meet the standards required? Do they have, sidewalks? What are you doing as part of these frameworks and part of the advocacy and engagements to ensure that roads are built properly?
Exactly. I mean, I can't overstate the fact that it is the responsibility of government to build the right kind of road in the right environment, right? If you're in the city, you should build roads that will be used in the city according to the method and approach through which people use the roads, right? So yes, you are right. We have roads across the country that are built without some of the features in place. Let's be fair and let's be true. And government should pay attention to that, because the accountability of government is to keep our citizens safe. So if you build roads that endanger your citizens, then you are not being accountable. You're not being a responsible government. And so our government and the ministries and institutions responsible for these things should take note and address some of these issues. And trust me, Edward, some of these things can be addressed easily. For example, when you walk along the Todman Boulevard, you see in several areas the sidewalk is cracked. And steel rods are showing up on the in the sidewalk. How you expect somebody to walk on the sidewalk that is open? It's completely open, right? The drain is open like that. The person will obviously dodge that area, right? So if the person decides to go on a carriageway and they get hit, who's responsible? You see where it get complicated? When that kind of case go to court, how does the judge determine who's wrong? The sidewalk is cracked off, the pedestrian can walk on the sidewalk, so the pedestrian walk on the carriageway, pedestrian get hit. So I agree with you.
What is your assessment so far of some of the roads that have been built? I mean, especially the new ones, maybe the RRA highway and other new roads. I mean, have you assessed them? And what are some of the things you found?
As a safety institution, we are across the board doing education, we are doing policy, we are also doing a huge part of road safety audit. In fact, a lot of my people are lesson road safety auditors, right? Last year, I believe, we did a complete assessment of the 11.2 kilometer of the Todman Boulevard, starting from bypass intersection there, going as far as SKD Boulevard Junction, right? And the incident, the scenario I just explaining to you comes from that particular research. So we've assessed road across the board all of the time, and from the RIA road to the bridge and all of that, Cental Bridge across Freeport, Somalia Drive. There are a few roads that meet the standards of what a road in the urban area is supposed to be, and there are a lot of roads that are still lacking behind. I know sometimes.
What are some of the roads? Let's be specific with those roads that you see.
For example, I just talk about the Todman Boulevard. The Todman Boulevard has a lot of sidewalks that crack off.
Okay.
Get your maintenance crew in there to repair those sidewalks.
Okay.
Right? There, for example, the current RI road that's ongoing. There are a lot of areas where the drainages are open. It could easily, it's a death trap. Somebody could easily fall in there. Several times you've seen vehicle hit the median they're putting in the middle, right? Because there's no light. On top of that, there's no markings. Yes, they're building the road, but there should be some temporary markings that show demarcation. So all of these things are called for in the construction process, right? You should provide, as long as you are building the road and you have now created an alternative traffic, you should provide safe means of movement. It's part of your responsibility, and you are accountable as a contractor, as a ministry, as a government. You are accountable to do that. So if you're building the road and you haven't put in any temporary markings and nobody know what the lane is, and everybody applying here and there, imagine the RI road is wide open without the median as you go further, right? And no temporary markings. So if somebody decides to apply the opposite lane and they hit another vehicle, what happens? How will you judge that case, right? And even there are a lot of community roads that we have not put in measures. GSA road, Dupo road. We don't have speed breakers. We don't have speed calming devices. We don't have good sidewalks. We don't have crossing points for kids. There are community, there are areas where there should be signages. 20 kilometers per hour, 15 kilometers per hour, 30 kilometers per hour. Particularly in school zones, there should be signs. If there are no road signs telling the driver that, look, you're supposed to be driving 20 kilometers per hour because you are in a school zone, what happens? Crossing points for kids. What happens if if driver hit a child at that particular point? Is it the responsibility of the government that refused to put a sign, or is it the responsibility of the driver that refused to slow down because the driver didn't see a sign? So that's why I said from the beginning, it's a shared responsibility. But on the infrastructure side, because the way we've set up our system, government is responsible for this thing, for the infrastructure aspect. When you're driving on the road, you are responsible for your behavior on the road. That's why it is punishable by law when you behave wrongly and get to hit somebody or violate traffic. So it's a shared responsibility. So the question you ask, yes, I agree with you. There are a lot of roads across our country, across the cities, across different communities that should be improved. For safety reasons, should definitely be improved. I'll just name a few of them. Even the rehab road, where we got the president living, that road has a lot of safety issue. I know that because I've I've assessed it several times. The GSA road, the Dupo road, Pueblan roads, for example, the road meander all between people's houses. Yeah, that road has more curbs than any road, right? So I'm speaking purely from the safety standpoint. As a road safety specialist, as somebody who's advocating every day for us to improve our road environment, it is essential as we move on, we build on what we know and what we have.
So you spoke about some of the the safety or gears or safety systems that are required for vehicles and other things that should be done. What are you doing on the other side to ensure? Okay, first, what is in those frameworks that talk about reprimand for violations or violators of those standards? So it's not enough to just have the framework and have all of the things line up and what people should do and how people should behave. But if there's not a reprimand or the punishment for somebody who violates or somebody who falls short of those standards, then
I agree with you.
It should not be in place.
There should be strong enforcement and penalties for violators.
But do you have that in some of those documents?
Yes, in fact, the current 1972 has penalties for violators, like ticketings and all of that is in there. But on the new documents and that we are working on, yes, there are clauses in there, provisions in there that's very clear in terms of violation, what should happen. For example, if your car doesn't pass a roadworthiness check and you put it on the road, that's a violation. So it should be penalized.
Are those sanctions that bites? Are they very strong sanctions, or are they just very, very, very feeble ones?
Well, on the issue of the 2 and 3 wheelers, it's a bigger one that we should address holistically. For example, there are areas now where the Liberian National Police has excluded 2 wheelers from going, excluded 3 wheelers from going, right? So those ones, yes, if you violate and you go into those places that you're not supposed to go, actually you should be penalized for that, or at least you should be you should be fined for that. And that's particularly across the board. But again, the responsibility for road safety rests squarely with every one of us.
Okay.
The government has a role to play to ensure that the policies and the regulations and the laws and everything are in place, but moreover, building the right kind of infrastructure for road users. And road users have the responsibility to behave appropriately on the road. That's why I agree with the callers that say we should examine people before giving them driver lessons. Without examination, why are we giving you lessons? We give you lessons and we don't know whether you can even drive. So in case you go and take a vehicle and move on the road, and sometimes people can be suicidal, you know that? And this is highly psychological. We have to be very strong, very clear about it. If you do not pass the examination, you can't be issued a driver lesson. And if you do not present a certificate to prove that you went to a driving school, you cannot be given a driver lesson. And that should be as clean as it is.
Okay. And sadly, that's all the time we have for this edition of the program Accountability Hour. We just go back to you to just give us a few comments as we take leave of you.
Thank you so much, Edward, and thanks to Mark. I always appreciate the fact that we can come on air to talk about things that are very essential to our society. And again, like I said, we're in a safety area. We'll continue to advocate for road safety across the country. Government is accountable to keep our people safe. We are having a lot of road deaths. Government should address that. From the Liberian National Police that is responsible for enforcement, to the Ministry of Public Works that is responsible for building good infrastructure, to the Ministry of Transport that is responsible for regulating vehicle and transport-related activities. We all should work together comprehensively to address these issues. Because if we don't, trust me, there won't be anybody coming from anywhere to do that. We all should do that together. And at Road Safety Action International, we'll continue to work with partners across the board to try to find solution to some of these things. Also, we thank Cental for the opportunity, and we always love to come back to talk about road safety and the accountability that we have as citizens and government.
Thank you very much. That was the voice of Eric Gabriel Jean Judges. He's the executive director for the Road Safety Action International. This is a group that works to promote road safety in Liberia, and I think they're in a couple of other countries in West Africa. So yes, they are doing quite a lot. And we were here discussing road safety issues and accountability, as well as advocacy efforts around roads in Liberia. And sadly, that's all the time we have for this edition of the program, Accountability Hour. We'll be back here next Wednesday, God's willing, at about this time to bring you another edition of the program. Until then, my name is Edward Blamo. I have been here hosting this edition, and I've been here ably assisted by Mark W. Bwandao from Cental and Blessing Nimlin from OKFM, along with Ibrahim Connor has been providing technical support to this edition. Until next Wednesday, God's willing, bye-bye.